What's going on, guys? It's episode 133 of the BQ Daily Show. It's February 29th, 7:21 p.m. And so I'm actually doing something different for this one. Well, I guess not different. It's a first time, so I've never actually recorded on video the podcast. I've always done it audio only. There's actually been a couple times where I record snippets and then I save them for later. And I've posted episode 15. It was in my car with my laptop and my mic and stuff, but I've never done an actual full-length recording, and I don't know how long this one is going to be. Ideally, it's shorter because I know that longer videos are a bitch to upload onto my computer and to put everywhere, so I'm not experienced with that shit as much from my phone. I've always recorded it and had it on my camera or a SIM card, and I've just plugged it in. It's already on my computer, and I just drag and drop to wherever I need. So lots to learn with that, but I'm not going to learn anything if I don't do anything. So what a better way than to just start. As I said on episode 132 episodes ago, just start. So I have no plan today. I have no idea what I want to talk about. And I was just kind of challenging myself to, again, sit down, figure it out as I go, and get better at talking, get better at speaking, get better at the whole editing thing too, because I guess that's what I'm doing now. I want them to sound good. I want them to sound professional. I want to sound professional. And so I made a goal. Actually, I'm not going to pull it up on my phone because my phone's being used. Oh, I got notes. Hold on. So I made a note today. So one thing I'd like to do, and I was thinking about this because Alex Hormozy has this great point of everybody's looking for a silver bullet, but what you really need is 100 golden BBs. And what he means by that is everyone's looking to get that one thing that's going to completely revolutionize their product or their business or whatever, that one thing that's going to change everything. But what it really is the 100 smaller golden BBs that make up that silver bullet. And so it's changing 100 little different things that will, I guess, cumulatively make up that silver bullet and be that huge change, that huge momentum push, whatever it is. And that's pretty much what that means. So what I wrote down here was I need to listen to every single one of my episodes from here on out. And I need to pick one thing, just one thing that I don't like, and then pick one thing that I do like, note it, and then pretty much run with that. Pick one thing I like and one thing I don't like, make a list of those things, study those things, and look for ways to improve on those things. So by the end of 1,000 episodes, I mean, not now because I'm already 133 deep, but at the end, for example purposes, by the end of 1,000 episodes, I would have 1,000 things that I like about the podcast and how I sound, the editing, whatever, anything, and 1,000 things that I don't like. And I think inevitably those 1,000 things that I don't like would change into things that I do like, or they would be replaced with something else that's maybe neutral. So the goal with that is, 1,000 episodes later, that's not even 3 years. I think that's 2 years and 10 months. So something like that. And so by the end of, so I guess I would be 29 years old, 29 and a half by the time I would get to 1,000 episodes. And that's actually completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Point being actually is the fact that I'd have 1,000 things that I like, 1,000 things that I don't like. It'd be 1,000 podcasts deep. And that is 1,000 potential golden BBs that I could use to input into the new podcast, which I'm working on, kind of procrastinating in a way. I just want to make sure that I'm actually going to dive into that in just a sec. I'll get back to that in a minute. But so that was the thought that I had. So if I just listen to every single show I have, find one thing I like, find one thing I don't like, even if I listen to the first minute and that's all I get, I find the first thing I don't like within the first 30 seconds, whatever, that's it. And maybe it takes me another 12 minutes to find something that I don't like or the other thing that I do, whatever. I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to focus on one. Even if there's 30 in the first 5 minutes, I'm picking one. I'm going to roll with that one. I'm going to improve that one, take it out, replace it, whatever I got to do to make the episodes better, for no other reason, again, than to get better at everything that you see going on right here. Because I got a camera recording me right now, and obviously I'd like to have that be a nice camera, pointing at me with maybe a nicer background. I mean, not a goddamn thing behind me. So visually it's not, I mean, it doesn't look good. So, and that doesn't matter. But if I'm going to get on YouTube, I'd like it to be entertaining to an extent, you know? So anyway, so what I was going to talk about what was I going to talk about? Lost my train of thought. I was going to talk about so I've been feeling a little bit I've been feeling unsure about the other podcast, because the other podcast is going to be focused. It's going to be the main podcast. It's going to be the one that I put a lot of effort into, where I sit down like this, have the video recording. I have my notes right here, and I'm prepared to talk about something. And I've put a lot of thought and effort and energy into preparing everything to make it the best I can be. I've probably spent a lot of time in editing and making this sound good. I've probably spent a lot of time getting the intro, outro, all that shit sorted out, figured out, making the cover art, because I want it to be the one that I care a lot about. The podcast that I have now, the BQ Daily, which you're listening to, this is just the daily documentation, the day-to-day, everything that I'm doing with Live Hard, building a business from the ground up, sharing my perspective on the world, and everything else that comes in between. They're boom, 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 quick. They're daily. They're not supposed to be nice sound and quality. Actually, like this one, they're supposed to be just boom, boom, boom. But I'm trying to get the practice, I guess, in doing this for the real podcast, which I think I'm going to call Your New Norm. I don't know. I've thought about calling it The Standard, but in between The and Standard, there's 5 stars, obviously meaning the 5-star standard, meaning, 5 stars is the best you can have. So 5-star hotel, 5-star rating, 5-star Google review, whatever. 5-star, this 5-star standard. That's one idea I had. And then the other one, that's it actually. So, and I have no idea. And again, like I said, I think it was episode 10 or something. The name didn't matter. The cover art didn't matter. I just picked a random thing, rolled with it, and that built the momentum for me to keep going to where I am now. That's really how it all began. You can scroll back all the way to episode 1 on Spotify. You can see, or whatever, and see the cover art that I chose. And for some reason, I updated half of them, but not the other half. But the first 7 or 8 episodes or something like that, it was just a black background and a white bee. And then I changed it to something that was generated for me on a logo generator website. And I just picked the first one I saw. It looked like shit, but it was just to pick something, move with it, and just prove that you could it doesn't fucking matter. But here I am saying it does, because I want it to look nice. I want to put a lot of effort into it. And that's not a cop-out. I do want the cover art to look nice. I do want everything to flow great. I do want to make this, air quotes, my baby. But again, I'm learning. I may have 133 episodes underneath my belt, but I would like 1,200 more, And so I would like to have everything nice, because if that's the podcast that I'm going to put a lot of effort into, I want it to be nice. I want it to be, anyway. So I've been having those self-sabotaging thoughts of, well, I haven't done a goddamn thing. How the hell am I going to talk about anything? Who's going to want to listen to me? Who's going to think that what I have to say is actually valid? I haven't done anything. I don't have a business. I just haven't done shit. So how the fuck can I run a podcast talking about discipline and business and all this stuff when I haven't really done that? And so I am actually planning on talking about all of what I'm talking about now in more depth. Sorry, I just got an email. I want to talk about all of what I'm talking about now in depth on episode 1 of that podcast. And it's going to touch on, I guess, everything I've already talked about. But so I have done a few things, and they're not, I wouldn't call them noteworthy. I wouldn't call them worthy of me dedicating a whole podcast to, but in due time, I will have more things underneath my belt that I can talk about, and that will make great content. So those things are, so I've competed in a men's physique bodybuilding competition. I got first in teens, second in natural. I have 2 people, second in true novice, who gives a third in, I tied for third in just novice. and then 6th in the open, which is the one that matters, which sucks, but it's all good. And then I started my own fitness coaching company. I started my own videography coaching company. And when I say company, it was more like a side gig, and people paid me in cash or through Venmo. And I probably only made a total between everything. So I have fitness coaching, videography, graphic design. I think that's it. And I think cumulatively, maybe $5,000 over the course of 2 or 3 years, something like that. Not a lot whatsoever, considering I did it for 3 years, and it was off and on. That's a whole other episode. But then I tried to do, and I say tried because I was just a lazy piece of shit. It's embarrassing, man, but I wanted to start an apparel company. And so I got samples from, I don't know where, I think it was China, but I got some samples going. And then I quickly realized that I needed more capital than I had and that I could get. And so I gave up on that straight up. I was like, wow, I'm not doing this then. And then, so that's like kind of all the business endeavors that I've had. And the disciplinary, right? With the competition. And then from there, I lived a little bit of life. I moved to southern Utah, which is about 5 hours south of where I'm at now, it's pretty much a whole different state. It's a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole different environment, a whole different type of weather. And then I moved from there to Phoenix, Arizona, moved again from Phoenix to pretty much Glendale. Then I moved from Glendale to Parker, Colorado, and then from Parker, Colorado to where I'm at now in Utah. It was about a 3-year time period, and I learned so much about myself. And as all that corny cliche bullshit goes, I'm glad it happened, because I wouldn't be where I am now without that experience and without the knowledge and wisdom and all the emotions and all the shit that came with it. Because it was a very, very, very hard time for me, because I was just very mentally abusive to myself. And thinking about it now, it's very heartbreaking how mean I was to myself. And that made it hell. And there's a lot of other things that transpired during that time, of course, but learned a lot. And I have that experience of kind of embracing the unknown for 3 years straight. And I'm proud to say that, but I'm excited to be out of that now, because it was a tough time in my life. And anyway, that's a whole other podcast too. I think it's the first, it's episode 3, 4, and honking in my goddamn podcast. It's episode 3, 4, and 5, I think, of the BQ POV Daily Podcast Show, the BQ Podcast Show. And so anyway, that's all that. So that's the experience. That's what I have that I could talk about, that I could relate. And I don't know. So I just overthink it. Are people going to want to listen? Are people going to are they going to think I'm this or that? And here's the thing. I think those things out of habit. I don't think them because I actually believe. I think those out of habit because that's what I've always thought. That's what my mind always goes to. But I don't actually put weight to that, because I'm on episode 133 of this show right now. I haven't given a fuck what anybody has to say or what they think, because this is for this reason here. And the new podcast is going to be for a different reason here. So why the fuck? What makes it different? Because I want it to be better? Well, the only way I'm going to get better is to keep going and to play the game, right? Pretty sure Alex said that, actually, by the way. Found that out. The only way to get good at the game is to play the game. Pretty sure he said that. But if he didn't, I'm claiming that shit, because I said it forever ago. And by forever ago, I mean months. So, yeah, that's it. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. So as a quick recap, I just wanted to, I'm the whole new podcast thing. Just don't feel like I have the experience or the wisdom to share, but I do. I know that I do. I heard a quote and it said, what is it? You only have to know one more thing than the person you're teaching to be the teacher. Something like that. It was, you only have to know more than the person you're teaching to be a teacher, or something for them. So it was something like that. I could be so off, but because I was having struggles with fitness and coaching and stuff like that. And I happen to know a shit ton about that stuff. And I always thought that I was a fraud and I didn't know anything. And I was like, who's trusted me to help them write a plan? But, I was like, I know so much more than this person, and not in a condescending way or rude way, but it's like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I know a lot about the stuff. They don't even know how many grams of fat are in peanut butter. And that's second nature to me. You know what I mean? So I was just doubting myself, and it's kind of how I feel now. So yeah. So, and I didn't mean to say a quick recap earlier. I don't know what I meant to say, but yeah. So BQ Daily Show, this one here is just the day-to-day shenanigans. It's a quick fire to get into documentation now, what my thoughts are, what my plans are, struggles I'm having. All personal, right? The actual real podcast, I'm going to call it Your New Norm. I think, don't know. That's bound to change. That's going to be probably a lot more professional. Of course, I'll share personal experiences and stories. Of course I will. I'm sure that'll be a great backbone of the story, but I'm not going to be like, yeah, so I went to the store and the lady looked at me weird and I was like, oh yeah, that's fucking apples and yeah, so I got sandwiches made. Now that's going to be more focused on valuable lessons and core values and takeaways and standards and how we can be better and ways to practice discipline and blah, 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 blah. So I think that's all I wanted to say. And so, yeah. So also, this is the first ever recorded episode on video. And, yeah, so anyway, we're going to recap the show. We're going to listen to it. We're going to find one thing I like, one thing I don't like, write those down on a list, and then improve on those, or replace them or edit them or whatever it may be. And we'll grow from there. So by the end of 1,000 episodes, we're going to have 867 golden BBs, as Alex Hormozy would call them. So 867 golden BBs should have a pretty damn good podcast by the end of that. So, and if not, then I'm getting the wrong BBs, man. But anyway, that's it. That's the show. Oh my Lord, dude. I didn't know I was talking for so long. That's so crazy. I really felt like I was talking for 6 minutes and we're almost at 20. Well, at least on my phone, that is. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. That's the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know this is kind of crazy and not well put together and structured or whatever, but it is what it is, and I'm learning, and not much more you can do about that. So that's the show. Peace.